I wanted to ask you, who addresses your Christmas cards? That's the most impressive handwriting
Beautiful.
I have ever seen.
Postable.
Hmm?
It's like an app that we submit
Oh,
all of our.
it is a computer thing. I thought it might be.
Yeah.
Hey, we have our very first Airbnb. Hopefully next meeting.
Wonderful.
You better read the regulations because nobody really knows about it. Hey, Dean, looking good.
Hiya, Sarah.
More people in the waiting room.
Tracy, we can see you, Tracy. Tracy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but it's blurred. Are you trying
Yeah,
to
I don't
join?
know.
Maybe you could exit and rejoin.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the part 2 of the short form, Justin and Jack?
I have, yeah, there was one attached to the application you sent out yesterday,
The part 2.
part 2, yeah.
I memorized it.
Is Paul coming tonight? And Jerry?
I
Paul's
see
here.
Paul.
Here. Hi,
Hello.
Paul.
Hello.
Oh, I guess we can start now. Like to call the Town of Clinton Planning Board meeting, virtual meeting, to order on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021 at 7:31. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Executive Order number 202.1 issued on March 12, 2020, suspending the open meetings law, an emergency state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings, the Town of Clinton Planning Board, scheduled for January 5th, 2021, will be held electronically via Zoom instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person. Members of the public may view the board meeting as it is live streamed on YouTube, www.townofclinton.com/government/planning-board/videos/. The first item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing for the Seymour site plan and special permit. Do we have anybody here for that? Okay.
We have Laura Charles, Elisa Baker Law, Christine Telesco in the waiting room.
Baker.
And then someone called S. Alex or Salix.
Public.
Okay. There's nobody for Seymour then? Tim Ross is not here.
Baker.
Who?
Yeah, Baker.
Muted. You're muted.
Alicia Baker is one of the applicants on the Seymour.
Oh,
You gotta
okay.
unmute.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're good.
You're fine.
I'm gonna just call in my husband. He's a police officer and he had arrest this afternoon, so he's down in Poughkeepsie processing evidence and can't get to a video. But I'm gonna try to give him a call, so I'm gonna put him on speaker next to the video, if that's okay.
Hello?
Hi, honey, can you talk we're just on now.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect, but it won't let me here, so I'll have to stay on speaker.
All right, I'm just gonna put you right here so they can hear you and vice versa.
Hello?
Okay. Are
Good.
you able to hear him as well, if you have any questions?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, can we have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
I so move.
We have a second? Do we have a second?
Sexton second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Art, aye.
All right, Paul.
Justin, I.
Okay, so moved. Could you just briefly explain what you're doing? And then if we have any comments from the public, we'll go to that, okay?
Sure. Russell, you want me to explain it?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
just briefly, what you're doing.
So basically, currently we have structures on our property. One is our main house, the other is a 3-car garage with above the 3-car garage is a large open area with a cathedral ceiling, which the owners prior to us, it appears, had started building out to make a dwelling. And it's our request or intention to be able to build a 1-bedroom and with a study dwelling there with a kitchen and a bathroom and 1 bedroom and an open area for a living room with a little alcove for a study. And we would not be changing any of the exterior of the building of what's already there, but for putting on the side of the building where you walk up, lights on the outside of the building. And there would be no other structural on the outside of it, structural changes. It's already connected, I believe, to this current septic. We've supplied to the board that the septic would allow for 1 extra bedroom. And there's currently, it's an extensive setback. I don't believe, well, except in the wintertime without leaves, you probably can see the building, but when there are full leaves, the building isn't even visible. I don't see it increasing traffic at all. It won't be seen any more than it already is seen by any of our neighbors. And that's pretty much what we're looking to do.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody from the public who wishes to comment on this? Is there anybody in our Zoom audience here?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have nobody from the public?
There was one who contacted me about this today. I believe he's in the audience. Therese, what's her name? Celesco? Speak now or?
Fred, is there anybody waiting in the,
No, everybody's in the meeting.
Yeah, everybody's in. They probably didn't realize it's this one. Hold on, what's the name of this person? Teresa.
okay, did they,
Yes,
they-
they contacted me. They asked for the Zoom link, and I believe he was in. Hold on.
well, if they're not here,
Give me a minute.
what was their name, Arlene?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find my email. He sent me an email today asking to join. What's the hell is the name? So much email today. I actually spoke to your husband and told him about who was it. It's next door to you. Alicia, it's next door to you.
Okay. Russell, do you,
Arlene, if, they are not in the waiting room?
No, no one's in the
Okay.
waiting room.
No one's in the waiting room? A while
No.
ago, I admitted. Hold on.
Okay, if they're not in the waiting room, we can't be calling them up. That's
No,
not.
I'm not calling them. I thought a while ago I admitted him. Hold on. This-
Who is this gentleman, SALEX, waiting for?
That's 4404 Pumpkin Lane. Is there
Okay.
another guy? I thought there was another guy before. There was two in the audience before. Christine, Charles, I guess he exited.
Alex is for Pumpkin Lane.
Yeah.
Charles.
Oh, that Christine Telesco, that could be it.
our neighbor, we have, it's the electric companies on one side of us. I hope it's not them.
Here,
And
this
then-
Christine Telesco, I believe this one.
Okay, they are not here, correct?
Telesco?
Are they?
You know what it is? I have to unmute them.
No, yeah.
Sir, selects. I still unmute. Hold on. Mr. Selects. Mr. Selects.
Yeah, he's for Pumpkin Lane.
He's for Pumpkin Lane. This is Telesco then.
Okay,
Telesco, Christine?
Mr. Telesco, can you
Yeah.
hear us?
I can hear you. I've
Are you-
never Zoomed before.
That's okay. Are you here to talk about the Seymour site plan?
No, I received a registered letter about a subdivision, and part of it is
okay,
on Pumpkin
Okay.
Lane, and I just want to hear what it's about.
All
Okay.
right, so that's
Okay.
later.
That's not
Right.
this one.
that'll be up next, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Hang in there.
Yes, sir. No,
Okay.
I'm learning. This is the first Zoom I've ever done, so this is enjoyable.
Okay,
Good.
okay, there's nobody. All right, I'm gonna ask this question one more time, Arlene.
Yeah, I guess
Is
he's not here. He
If
said he
nobody,
sent an email, so.
okay, they're not here. They're not, they are not in the waiting room, correct?
I don't see it.
Okay. Can we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I so move.
Second, Justin.
Discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Sarah, I.
Jack, aye.
Aye.
Tracy, I.
Okay, so moved. Okay, we're gonna bring you back in just a little bit. We've got to do another public hearing and then you're next on the agenda, okay?
we come back again?
Yeah, you're gonna come back and we're gonna go over your application. So we got to do another public hearing, so
Should I
Today,
sign-
don't go anywhere. Today, just.
yeah, don't go away.
Yeah, just stay.
Stay in the waiting room.
Yep.
You
yep.
got it.
No, you can stay in the meeting.
Okay. Pumpkin Lane sounds interesting.
Just mute
Okay.
yourself. Just mute yourself.
Okay. Now, is there anybody here for the Charles two-lot subdivision?
Yes, Steve Alex from Chazen Engineering representing Carlos and Laura Charles.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Okay, can I get a motion to open a public hearing on the
No,
Charles
Justin.
two-lot subdivision?
Justin moves to open the meeting.
Okay,
second.
discussion? All in favor?
Jack, aye.
Justin, I.
Art, aye.
Aye.
Gary,
So moved. Okay, if you can briefly explain what you're doing, and then we'll see if we have any comments from the public on this. Okay?
Certainly. Would you like to share the map on the screen, or shall
Do you
I?
have this? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All I can see is a list.
We
Okay,
can
hold
find
on. Hold on. Us now.
Now
That's
I
it.
see it.
There we go.
Okay. So the Charles own parcel of land. It's currently one tax parcel bisected by Pumpkin Lane. Taconic State Parkway is on the easterly boundary. It's comprised of 26.85 acres. And as I said, it's bisected by Pumpkin Lane. They'd like to formally divide this so that we have two separate tax parcels. The existing house is on the northerly parcel, and they're proposing at some point in the future, they're not currently planning it, but some point in the near future, proposing to build on the southerly parcel, the parcel south of Pumpkin Lane. So something of interest here is that even though this is one tax parcel, currently exists as two separate parcels in their deed. And prior to the common owner owning both parcels, they were always separate parcels. As a matter of fact, the northerly part, the parcel on the north side of Pumpkin Lane, was part of a subdivision that Milt Chazen did 60 years ago. So it's interesting that at some point in time they were combined into one tax parcel, and I know at some point in time Harry Bly, some of you may remember Harry Bly, who was a surveyor in Millbrook, had surveyed this property, and Harry was famous for assisting people with combining their separate parcels into one tax parcel for convenience purposes. So I'm suspecting that may have happened at one point in time, but here we are. We're trying to get two separate tax parcels, so they have a buyer for the house on the north, and as I said, they'd like to develop a single family residence on the southerly parcel. So we've drawn it that way. We've actually drawn exactly as the deeds describe it, with Pumpkin Lane there bisecting the property. We went ahead and did some soil tests on the southerly parcel, primarily to assure the Charles that they had adequate soils to develop for a septic system in the future. So we did spot the soil tests on the map, and at the request of the board, we showed a proposed house location and a proposed conceptual location of a driveway. The driveway entrance was reviewed by your highway superintendent, and according to the communication I got from him today, he has provided the planning board. He tells me he's provided the planning board with a note saying that he approves of that location. Now, at some point in the future, when we design this site for health department approval and site plan approval, we'll actually design the grading for the driveway. And at that point in time, the highway superintendent tells me that's the proper time to apply for the actual driveway permit. So a couple other things we've added here at the request of the board were the zoning setback lines. We added the full driveway location. I don't know if it'll end up there in the end. And we added the buffers for the wetlands, 100-foot buffer on the larger wetland and a 50-foot buffer on the smaller wetland. So that's their action. It's actually very minor action. And we're hoping that tonight the board will entertain this for preliminary and final approval.
Can I have your name again? I'm sorry.
It's Stephen Alex. Stephen with a V, Alex, A-L-E-X.
And you're from Chazen?
Chazen Engineering, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Are there any members of the public in the meeting who have any questions on this application? If there is, please state your name.
Did we open the public hearing?
We're in the
Yes.
public hearing.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Sorry.
state your name and your address. So if there's anybody's got any questions. Okay. No questions, no members of the public? Okay. A motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Justin.
Seconded, Jack.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Jerry, aye.
Justin, I.
Sarah, I.
Okay,
Tracy, I.
Paul?
Aye, thank you.
You got, okay. Okay, the public hearing is closed. Steve, if you'll just hang out, we're gonna go to the Seymour site plan and we'll be back to you right after that, okay?
Very good. I'll be here.
Okay, thank you. Nice job. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Seymour site plan and special permit. Okay,
Need Brad Russell's phone number?
you're back.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. Okay, Jack?
When you folks were here last time, we talked about putting in an interior stair because the zoning rules say there should be an interior stair wherever practical. Do you have anything to tell us about that?
Let me just get Russell on, sorry, 1 second, because I know that he spoke with, hang on 1 second, getting it in, sorry. Come on, Seymour. Yes, so there is right now currently, if you're looking at our garage, it's a 3-car garage with a little door on the far right-hand side.
Right.
I believe that it will be feasible to be able, I'm sorry, here he is, to put a interior stairway from there. Hey, Russ, is that you?
Yeah.
Can you just describe, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, could you just discuss the interior stair? I was explaining that my understanding is where the outside door is to the garage on the far right-hand side of the garage.
Yeah.
The interior stairwell can go up from there. Is that correct? So where those doors are, is where it would come up from underneath.
Yes, if we had to put one in, we'd have to go in. Yeah, we'd have to go in from there because the other wall is a knee wall or a frost wall, I believe. So
Okay.
it's the half wall, I should say. So we'd probably have to come in where the door is to the garage. Should have to be an interior staircase there.
Okay, so you can do it then.
It's our understanding. We haven't met with an architect. That's kind of what Russell has sketched out. So the picture that you had prior to that, there's that little white door. And that would be, I think, the only location where it could possibly go in. And we'd have to see right where that, where they just had the picture, it'd have to go to the right of the, exactly.
The air handler?
The air handler, correct.
Yeah, okay, I see the door there.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
what seems to me to make some sense is to condition our approval on your putting in an interior staircase. But if, before you start, go forward, if something really unexpected turns up and there's some huge problem, I guess you can always come back to us.
Okay. Go ahead, Russell.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear that.
That to put a condition in to put in an interior stairwell, because is it correct to say that it doesn't seem like it would be a difficult thing to put an interior stairwell in?
Well, we'd have to change the framing, obviously, and tether it off and support it. It would be changing what's currently there. would we need to have an interior? Because we could also put some type of a balcony over the existing pathway to get to the back deck if it's a matter of having it covered. Not what the code would require.
The code says that there should be, I'll read it to you.
You have the section, please?
It's 29D.
D?
I think it's, I'll tell you. Yeah, hold on. It's, 29D, 250 29D. Says, it says somewhere here.
I think it's paragraph 10, right?
Paragraph, it's right, it's 10. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stairway.
I'm sorry, I lied. It's 29B, not D.
B, yeah.
It
D10.
says stairways leading to any floor or story above the first floor shall be located within the walls of the building wherever practical. Stairways and fire escapes shall be located on the rear wall in preference to either side wall. In no instance shall an exterior stairway or fire escape be located on any wall fronting the street. So, the preference is for it to be inside, which I think may also be the happiest arrangement in the wintertime or the rain. So if it can be done on a practical basis, then I think that's what the code says you have to do. If it's impractical, and you can tell us now, then we can consider that. If you haven't spoken to your architect or whoever's doing this, or I thought you were going to do the construction yourself.
We are.
Yes.
So if it's practical, I think we should condition our approval on your providing an interior staircase.
Russell, can you discuss the practicality of putting it inside the structure?
Well, I'm just thinking in my head that putting it on the inside with a door would because of the way I'd have to have a landing and change direction. That we would almost lose, I would argue, probably that right garage door or partially that right door. So we'd be down to, in theory, two garage door openings, because the stairwell and landing to get the proper height and distance on it, we would probably push out from that wall where that garage door entry wall is, entry door is, the door itself, not the garage doors. I'm not saying we can't do it. If that's something we need to do, then we'll have to figure that out.
Would it be easier or more practical if we just took the existing stairs and covered them, or put, maybe non-heated, but could we extend out the bottom part of the building an extra 4 feet to cover the existing walkway? Would that, Jack, work?
I don't think that. No, I think the intent is that you keep everything inside the existing building. I must say it sounds like more work to me to try and cover that exterior walk. I welcome the views of the other members of the board, but if you're telling me you have to lose one bay of the garage to put in the staircase, that sounds to me like it's not terribly practical.
I agree.
Well, because the issue is going to be, and this is what I was thinking, if we went the entire, if we didn't have a landing and we just went straight up with it, but the issue is going to be the main beam that runs through the entire garage, the header that runs.
So
through.
then you'd have to put a whole other header in
All right.
and lose a bay.
Is there a picture? Is there a picture?
I think that's impractical. You said you are going to put additional lighting on the
Oh,
exterior stairs, right?
Yep.
We're definitely gonna have exterior lighting.
Okay.
Exterior,
So we can condition it on your providing adequate exterior lighting instead of the interior stair. I mean, there's no reason you should lose a whole bay of a garage.
We don't have a picture. We don't have a picture of the stairs.
No,
Okay.
all the stuff that
I visited it. There's a hill, you know, if you go back to that other picture of the garage, right
right
there, there's a little hill
I don't know
with
why.
two stairs built into the ground that leads to a deck on the other side. And the entrance is through the deck. It's not as though it's a full staircase. It's stairs simply built into the, built into
right
the
there.
little office.
right.
You going this way?
Correct. That's the current entranceway, which right in front of that is a large deck. And on the side, if you're looking at that photograph, on the left are the stairs going up. Yep,
here's the deck.
correct.
Oh, that's the, okay, yeah.
Stone steps.
They're not, there's initially 2 stone steps, a little flat walkway, and then there's wooden steps like you would normal wooden steps going up onto a deck. And that goes onto that deck and then into that back entranceway.
Maybe half a dozen steps, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a full set of steps because you have those other steps that are stone. So it's probably maybe 2/3 of what a normal staircase would be.
And they're built, they're on the ground really, because the ground rises. So,
Yeah. Slope out to the 2 concrete or the 2 stone steps that are built into the hill. There's blue stone that goes up a little bit at an angle, and then maybe 7, 8 steps, maybe.
Okay, and you'll provide lighting on that.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that sounds like a whole lot less work than losing a garage bay door. If folks have other views, I'm happy to hear.
Since I only have 1 garage because Russell's taken up 2.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
that could be a family war.
But I think that being made fun of.
That's the only question I had, Art.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions on this? No, okay.
I have a resolution, oddly enough.
Wait, you gotta do the
Speaker.
You got a new
secret.
speaker.
Oh, right, we have to do the, we have to do the environmental thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appointed ourselves as lead agency at our last meeting, so now we have to do the questions. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use or zoning plan? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No, or minimal. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No, or small. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public/private water supplies or public/private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, so forth? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. So I move that we issue a negative declaration with respect to the environmental impact.
Second,
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 discussion. All in favor?
Jack, aye.
Sarah, I.
all
Yes,
right.
Don.
Okay, so moved.
Now I have a resolution. Whereas applicants Russell Seymour and Alicia Baker seek permission pursuant to section 250-29 of the zoning code to create an accessory dwelling unit on the second floor of a 3-door garage on their 24-acre property at 124 Kansas Road in the town of Clinton, long number, and applicants state that the floor space of the garage is 945 square feet, and the proposed unit will have 1 bedroom and will be self-contained with bathroom, kitchen, and dining room. And applicants have submitted a letter dated December 14th, 2020 from the Dutchess County Health Department stating that the existing septic system is adequate to handle the proposed 1-bedroom apartment in addition to the existing 3-bedroom house, and the only access to the unit is from external stairs built into the hill adjacent to the garage, which lead onto a deck adjoining the second floor of the garage. Section 250B10 states that the stairway to the second floor accessory dwelling unit shall be internal wherever practical. Here, an internal stair would mean losing the use of 1 garage bay, which makes the internal stairway impractical. Section 250-29D explicitly states that an accessory dwelling unit is allowed in an existing detached garage. The other requirements of 250-29D regarding the size of the apartment and the acreage of the lot are met by this proposal, and a public hearing was held on January 5, 2021, at which time no one appeared in opposition to the proposal. At its meeting on December 15th, the planning board declared itself lead agency for CEQA purposes for this application, and at its meeting on January 5 issued a negative declaration with respect to the proposal. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby issues a special permit for the construction of a 1-bedroom apartment in the second floor of the garage at 124 Kansas Road in the town of Clinton, subject to the following condition. 1, adequate lighting shall be provided on the external stair. 2, applicants submit the written statement regarding any future subdivision required by section 250-29D4. And 3, all appropriate fees be paid.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, all in favor? Art,
Jack,
aye.
aye. Jack, aye.
Sarah,
Tracy,
aye.
I.
Very aye.
All right.
Right. So moved. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You've now created our winter project.
If you get it done in the winter, I'll be impressed.
All I heard her say, hour.
Well, thank you very much. You take
Thank
care
you.
now.
Thank you, and please, everyone, stay safe and healthy during this new year.
Yes,
Yes.
you too now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you.
Good night.
Okay, let's bring back the Charles 2-lot subdivision. You're back.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. Let's see who we got here. Justin.
Hello. So I think before I turn it over to the applicants, I'll just kind of recap. I think this is their 3rd trip here. So back in October, we did the sketch plan approval, and they had given us just kind of the outline of the properties with, you know, the pumpkin lane in the middle. And we told them we wanted to see a proposed location of a house that would work, and a proposed location of a driveway that would work. And so last time they came to us in mid-December, and they had just shown like the entrance of the driveway, but not connected all the way through. We didn't have the wetland buffers, which obviously the driveway has to scoot between. And so we sent them back and said, you know, I think, you know, show us the whole driveway, show us the wetland buffers, and then we would consider doing a joint preliminary and a final approval at this hearing. So to just recap for the board, there are a few waivers that have been requested, and I'll let the applicants go through if anyone has questions on them. But basically, they're related to the level of detail that these maps have to show, with like trees and rock outcroppings and these other things, which in my opinion are just kind of expensive and overkill, because we're just dividing and leaving an empty piece of land. They have done a lot of the contouring, they've done the wetlands, but it doesn't show every tree and some other things that could be required. So they've sought waivers for just go through them. Sketch plans, item 6 is the wooded areas and streams. 7 is the names of all the adjoining property owners within 200 feet, although I don't know if any are missing. Every side of the property has a name that's bordered on it. And then 8th is the location of the proposed utilities. Again, we don't have a development here, so there's no proposed utilities at this time. There are well sites, or sites that were tested for a septic system, which are all the little test pits. With respect to the plats, they're seeking a waiver of, again, the contours, which are here but may not be detailed enough for our code. Location of marshes, ponds, and streams. Again, this is from the GIS. They're not been flagged by someone, but that's kind of where they are. Location of rock outcrops in wooded areas, a tabular data regarding soil characteristics, a property record card, and I don't know what that is. And then the last one is information required for the Dutchess County Health Department. Although again, I think if they have the soil results for the septic, I'm not sure they need a waiver for that one, but they've asked for one. And then lastly, with regard to the final plat approval, that has all the same requirements as the first 2 steps, but a lot of it I think is not applicable because it's going to the proposed improvements and like what recreation areas are you going to provide and where the roads going and all the utilities. Again, it's not applicable for an undeveloped piece. The part that is applicable is A, which is the lot layout, B, the survey data, which they've done, D, a couple of certifications related to them being the property owner, getting the highway department sign off, which Todd signed off on, I believe, but Arlene should confirm, that they've located a potential sewage and water, and that they've paid their fees. And other than that, they've got to change the signature block to say final plat, but I think they've met all the things in final plat. So, I mean, I think we should talk about both the preliminary and final together, but I don't see a reason why they would need to come back a 4th time. I think this is what we're going to get, and so we should have a conversation on it. But I'll turn it over to Steve and Carlos and Laura.
Well, I'm not, you did a good job there, Justin, of covering the waivers we requested and summarizing the preliminary and final requirements. I don't think there's much more to say here unless you've got specific questions about what we're showing here. One thing I do want to note is that the health department is going to give us what's called a permission to file for a non-realty subdivision. So essentially what that entails, it says, okay, you have permission to file this map because it's a non-realty subdivision. essentially because there are no provisions on this map for health department approval of septic or water facilities. So what I'm getting at here is that although we've shown the test pit locations in the proposed house on here, the test pits in particular need to come off when I produce the final map, because the health department doesn't want to see anything that pertains to any type of engineering approval. They won't sign this as a non-realty permission to file if we're showing that kind of engineering detail on here. It's really on here for information for the board. And we did provide a letter from our engineers that attest to the adequacy of the soil for a septic system. We had very good depth and percolation at this part of the site here in the back. The house site is that works where it's shown, but it might move within the permissible setback lines to depending on how it gets graded, depending on the size of the house, the proximity to the septic system. So, but in general, when it does come back for design and health department approval, it's going to look something like this.
And one thing I forgot to mention, Steve, is that this went to the CAC as part of the SEQRA review. I went to the CAC and they came back with a letter that Arlene circulated to us saying that the wetland buffers were correct, that it doesn't trigger the steep slopes law. And so they had no concerns as well.
Great, thank you.
And thanks, Steve. That was my only question, was that the Department of Health approval, because it didn't seem to match up to what we're asking for here. But I think your explanation makes sense. And I actually just saw earlier the little Dutchess County Department of Health stamp box that you put on the survey, showing that you're not seeking the approval for the water and the sewage. And so, I mean, that kind of connects the dots. That was like the one requirement I didn't really understand.
The health department did witness the deep tests. And we talked about how to proceed with the next step being health department approval for a septic in the house, in the well. And he did say that we want to accomplish this first before we submit for health department approval.
This is, can I just ask, Steve, can I ask a question? On the wetlands mapper and on parcel access, it shows a stream going from the big wetland at the top of the map to the little one. And so I bring it up only because, and it says it's a perennial stream, and I'm just wondering why that wouldn't be on the map. It goes under the theoretical driveway.
Yeah, well, that's one of those items that we requested a waiver for, the site details.
Right.
So it isn't shown. We didn't locate it.
I understand you asked for.
I can show it based on the GIS layers.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll have to culvert the stream when we cross it, if we do cross it there.
I think I'll defer to the board. I think something like that, given it's right smack in the middle of this plan, basically. I keep pointing at the map and nobody can see me pointing. I don't know why I'm doing that, but
Yeah.
I think it's important to show, because it's apparently it's not a seasonal stream. It probably is a seasonal stream, but you can actually see it in the aerial, and it's a federal regulated wetland designated as riverine or whatever. So I think it's important to put that in the map. We can waive anything else, but that particular stream is right in the middle of everything.
I'm happy to show it from the GIS layers.
Hold on, I could pull it up.
And where it goes from the big one, sorry, Paul.
Yeah, it goes from the big blobby one right down to the little one. And then it indicated that the little one is like partially human made. It's like it has a dam or something. I don't know. There were some notations in the federal wetlands mapper about the whole thing, but it goes, right now you can't, if we raise the map up a little bit, it goes from the bottom of this, this uppermost wetland straight under the driveway to the little one.
Yeah, everything flows to the west.
Flows, flows to the west. You know, just because you never know, like who, you know, I understand what the plan is, but let's just say, you know, it's not these applicants, it's somebody else who's going to build. They, you know, and the map should show the basic, you know, the basic layout of the property.
There you go. Can you see it?
Yeah, there it is. See, so it's the orientation's obviously changed, but
It's over here. This
little
side.
green finger that goes to the from left to right.
This.
I would think before that driveway is put in, they're gonna have to, whomever owns that property is gonna have to go to the DEC for a work permit.
It looks like it's gonna cross over the stream, right? This way, the
The
driveway,
driveway would go through the,
the stream.
yeah, Art, I heard,
Cross
yeah.
over.
We'll have to delineate that wetland when we do the health department approval, because we'll need to maintain a setback from the wetland to get their authorization and approval.
Well, we also have a local law, water law, so.
Understood.
I would think just for the map that putting whatever you have on your system, not, you know, we're not talking about flagging it or anything, just putting it in there so that it's visible.
Yep, that's not a problem.
Probably be enough, would be enough for me. I mean, for me.
Just to jump in, it's Carlos Charles, one of the owners at 404.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. So we're coming back on this third meeting with the driveway in place, kind of the hypothetical driveway that leads to the house. And now it seems like we're talking about a hypothetical driveway that goes over a seasonal stream that's not there, and having issues with it. So if the driveway kind of went around the other way, the hypothetical driveway to the hypothetical house, I guess it would be okay. So I kind of feel like we're talking about things that deal with planning the building of the house, not really the subdivision of the land. And maybe I'm wrong on that.
But that's part of the planning for the subdivision.
Carlos, I don't think showing the stream is going to create a denial here for your subdivision application. It's just a detail they'd like to show on there. So that in the future, if you're not the one developing this lot, somebody else is, they know they need to do something.
Right.
With that crossing.
Right. And I see that, and I'm not concerned about being denied, hopefully, but more kind of being set back another couple weeks for
Is it?
I can make the change. I can make the mapping change tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this has got to get signed by the health department and the planning board. It's going to be a week or two before we can record the map anyway. So this isn't going to hold it up.
Got it.
Okay. So we can make that conditional, Justin, right?
Yep, so far the conditions I have are to add the location of the stream connecting the wetland areas on the map, revising the map to substitute the words final subdivision plat in place of preliminary plat, if we want to do that.
You gotta
And
do preliminary and final.
You need two
Yeah.
pictures.
The map should say preliminary and final.
Should only say final, I believe.
No, you either have two maps or it says final. You can't have one that says preliminary and final.
That's what we always have it before, preliminary and final for the plat.
It says the signature block for the planning board approval so state the words final subdivision plat or map.
Well, he's gonna have to change another map, and then that would say final plat.
We're going to change the map. The map I submit to you, the Mylar I submit to you, is going to have a number of changes on it,
Yes, all right.
including the title, which will now say final subdivision.
Okay. So, just I guess we have to do,
Hold on, Art, I'm sorry. They also need to pay the rec fees as part and the final
right,
approval, because I only collected the preliminary fees. They still have to pay the final plat fee and the rec fees.
Arlene, can I do this? Can we grant a preliminary approval for this map and then do a conditional approval of a final
Yeah, the
map?
fees,
And-
yes, and the fees, yeah.
Yeah, and the fees. Okay. All right. Anything else, or should I try this? Well, sorry, we have secret first anyways.
Seeker, yeah, why don't you, get Seeker and then we'll
Okay.
have any questions with the resolution.
Everyone can think about their questions while I read off the secret. All right. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No or small. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a CEA? No or small. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect infrastructure for transit, biking, walkway? No or small. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation, renewable energy? No or small. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies, wastewater treatment? No or small. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No or small. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No or small. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No.
Okay.
Okay. We'll do a motion. Sorry, a bunch of docs open. Resolution approving a negative declaration under SECRA for the Charles subdivision. Whereas on December 15th, 2020, the Town of Clinton Planning Board declared itself lead agency pursuant to SECRA for the uncoordinated environmental review of the Charles subdivision application. Whereas the Town of Clinton Advisory Council, Town of Clinton Conservation Advisory Council reviewed the application supporting documents and found that the proposed plans are in accordance with the town's environmental regulations, specifically concerning wetlands and steep slopes, and had no concerns regarding the application. Whereas no other involved or interested agency provided feedback regarding this Charles subdivision. Whereas a public hearing on the application was held on January 5th, 2021. Now therefore be it resolved that based upon the information, responses, and analysis from the short form EAF involved in interested agencies in the public hearing, the Town of Clinton Planning Board has determined that the proposed action does not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and be it further resolved, the Town of Clinton Planning Board hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to the requirements of SECRA and in accordance with Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Art, aye.
Jack, aye.
Sarah, I.
Tracy, I.
Oh, aye.
Okay, so moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone have any comments about the subdivision application?
Do you have in writing, the waivers requested, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
that was submitted. I don't know if it was 2 times ago or 1 time ago, but yes.
okay.
And they subsequently sent a letter saying one of the waivers was requested in error. So I've stricken that one from the list of waivers.
Okay, good. Okay,
All right, let's try it. Whereas the Town of Clinton Planning Board has received an application for subdivision from Carlos and Laura Charles for the purpose of subdividing lands on a 26.85 acre site located at 404 Pumpkin Lane, the Charles subdivision, as shown on the preliminary plat subdivision of lands of Carlos and Laura Charles, prepared by the Chazen Companies, originally dated November 30th, 2020, and last revised on December 16th, 2020. Map. And whereas the Town of Clinton Planning Board previously granted conditional sketch plan approval for the application on October 6th, 2020, whereas the application involves tax parcel number, blah, 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 which parcel is located in the AR5 very low density agricultural residential district and will create a new single lot that the applicant is not proposing to build on at this time. And whereas a short form EAF Part 1 was submitted prior to October 6th, 2020, whereas the planning board determined that the proposed project is an unlisted action and that an uncoordinated review of the action would be undertaken, whereas on December 15th, 2020, the planning board declared its intent to be lead agency pursuant to sections 617(6)(2) and 3 of 6 NYCRR 617. And whereas the planning board as lead agency has determined that the Charles subdivision would not result in any large or important impacts and has issued a negative declaration on January 5th, 2021, pursuant to the requirements of SECRA. Whereas the parcel is located within 500 feet of a working farm in an agricultural district, and applicants have completed an agricultural data statement. Whereas after review of the map, the planning board has determined the proposed subdivision is in compliance with the requirements of the town zoning law, the subdivision regulations, and the town master plan, let's say as set forth herein. And further that, and whereas the CAC has reviewed and has no concerns with the proposed subdivision, and the highway superintendent has reviewed and approved the proposed driveway location. Whereas the applicant has either satisfied the submission requirements for sketch plans and preliminary plats set forth in Town of Clinton subdivision and lot line adjustment regulations, or alternatively has been granted waivers with respect to the following requirements. Subdivision requirements for sketch plans, item 6, item 7, and item 8. Submission requirements for preliminary plats, item 1F, 1G, 1H, 1I, 1J, and 1K. Whereas the applicant has either satisfied each of the submission requirements for final plats set forth in the Town of Clinton subdivision and lot line adjustment regulations, or the planning board has determined that such requirement is not applicable to this subdivision where no improvements are currently planned on the lot. Whereas now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Clinton Planning Board hereby grants preliminary subdivision approval for the Charles subdivision as set forth on the map and related submissions, and be it further resolved that the planning board grants conditional final subdivision approval for the Charles subdivision after the applicants have complied with the following conditions. 1, added the location of the stream connecting the wetlands areas on the map. 2, revise the map to include the words final subdivision plat in place of preliminary plat. And 3, paid all applicable fees. The end.
Have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I have something. See this form? This needs to be signed by the applicant and signed off by the highway for file.
Submission of a sign. What do you want to call this?
This is the highway approval form, subdivision.
Submission of a signed highway department.
When I talked with Mr. Martin a couple weeks ago, before the snowstorm, he indicated that we wouldn't do this until such time that we were designing the driveway for construction.
This is for the subdivision that he approved that location. It's not a driveway permit.
Okay.
This is the form that we gave up for the subdivision, and Todd is no, he doesn't know about that. I already talked to him, but the applicant has to sign first, and then he could sign off. He talked to me about it. He's okay with the driveway, but this still needs to be filed and signed.
All right, so you just, yeah, it just needs to be signed. He already sent the email, but we should just
Yeah.
put it in the form. Okay, submission of a signed highway, a submission signed, sorry, approval form from the Town of Clinton Highway Superintendent. Okay,
I have, we've done this like boilerplate paragraph about the rec fee. I don't know if we want to, I can dig it up and send it to you, Justin. It just says.
what is it, Paul? Sorry.
It's the sort of boilerplate language for the rec fee, the park fee. And it just says, you know, the board is considered the, you know, it's whatever the regulation says that, you know, whether to dedicate land for a park and is determined that, you know, we'll take the money instead. And it just is a paragraph that you can add to the resolution. And just says, you know, the board has determined that the, you know, the rec fee should be paid. I don't know if anybody, I've put it in some of the resolutions I've done. It's just sort of lays out why they have to pay the fee.
No, you're correct, Paul. It should be in the resolution.
Okay. I can flip it to you, Justin. I just have to find it and cut and paste it and send it to you.
Yep, I'll put in a blank space, rec fee paragraph from Paul. Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Jack, aye.
Art,
Sarah,
aye.
aye.
Oh, I.
Tracy, I.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you very much.
You're all set. Okay, next item on the agenda. It's the tough one, Jerry.
Yes, this is our yearly routine with the,
Interlake annual permit renewal.
like, Interlake RV Park owned by Stephen Dumas on Lake Drive. So I have the following resolution. The town planning board conditionally approve the annual renewal of the special permit. The applicant has stated in a letter dated 12/9/20, there are no changes in the operation of the park since the previous renewal. The zoning enforcement officer has inspected the site and confirms by memo to the planning board dated 12/16/20 that A, the number of sites remains at 159 with none of the sites being occupied. B, there are 80 trailers being wintered over. And C, the entire campground is clean and well maintained. A new item is there is a section that's been upgraded with the Department of Health approval for new components of a septic system in the area of units 111 and to 122. Zoning enforcement officer further confirms that there are no known zoning violations of the property. A site plan for the campground is on file with the Clinton zoning office. Interlake RV Park has a current Dutchess County Health Department approval to operate the campground, which expires on 3/31/21. Now therefore be resolved, the planning board recommends the approval of the annual renewal of a special permit to the town clerk with the following condition. Health Department approval for 2021-2022 is granted.
Second,
Discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Jack, aye.
Sarah, aye.
Justin, aye.
Oh, I.
Tracy, I.
Gary, aye.
So moved. Thank you. Okay. Good job, everybody.
Dean is here.
Dean is here.
I am.
You are. Look at that handsome guy, huh? How you doing, Dean?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. You have any words of wisdom for us?
Don't get sick. I don't know.
I've got a question. I don't know who to address to. What is the status of our building inspector / zoning enforcement officer?
Active.
There's a weekly paper that I look at that said he was arrested for taking bribes in his role in Red Hook. Is anybody looking? That's true. I don't take much in that paper as necessarily being true, but is somebody looking at that?
Yes, we had an interview with him, and we've decided as a board to continue to have John stay on. There's a lot of personal information involved, and it's not as plain and simple as it sounds.
It never is. I just was curious since I saw the article.
As a matter of fact, Dean, he has a new title.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that new title actually expands his ability to handle multiple code situations.
Especially with the Airbnb.
Right. So instead of having the Airbnb have to basically have the building inspector and the zoning enforcement officer, we gave him a new municipal code enforcement officer title so that he can basically be basically a one-stop inspector and basically handle both aspects of what needs to be done on the Airbnbs.
Okay.
Which we have one coming up, the non-hosted.
I heard you in the beginning. Yes.
Hosted.
And then hopefully next week we'll approve the ag event law. Dutchess County Planning came back and wanted further changes to our original one from last month. That's why we didn't pass it last month. So I'm hopeful that we'll pass it next week.
I can't believe what they want. They want it less than 10 acres, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh,
they did, but I decided not to change it. I left it at 10.
less than 10
I mean,
acres.
as it is, we started at 50 and then we worked down to 10. So it's just, how much farther can you go?
Okay, anything else, Dean, or does anybody have any questions for Dean?
Is there any way that the Airbnb people get notified of the new law?
I think we've talked about if we could gain a list from the county, then we can send out a notice. I guess we'll start worrying about it probably around May.
6 months.
So that, because everybody's supposed to have at least the in-application process by 6 months. So I figure by May, if we haven't had a significant number of applicants, then we better start looking at sending out notice.
Yeah, I was wondering if Airbnb had an easy way too, where you could just tell them, right, you have a new town law and they just push it out.
Yeah, we're working with the county because the county is collecting sales tax from Airbnb.
Yeah.
And they also have paid a service that's basically making sure that the county is getting the sales tax. So between the county and the service that they have, we're hoping that we'll be able to identify the 80 to 100 Airbnbs that we have in town.
Okay. Anything else for Dean?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.
And to you.
Same to you, Dean. Okay, does anybody have anything they would like to talk about? Okay. I think we'll skip the minutes for this meeting, do them at the next. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Again,